They're all the words you could use to associate with that, but maybe trust is the most salient or the most narrow definition of what that actually translates to, where you really start to feel the compound effect of brand 12 months, 18 months down the line. I think even the act of doing something recognizable for that amount of time it has these it implies these things that you don't even really think about.
You've created a brand that's so much more than a logo. It's almost like you've owned an idea using repeated use of a simple graphic system, which I think is amazing. I'd love you to just sort of share how you think about visualize value as a brand and how you ended up making something that's so simple yet so standoutish.
I'm probably going to sound like this would happen completely accidentally, and 90% of it was an accident, or it was very incremental steps that led to it being what it is today. So my background is in graphic design. I worked in a bunch of different commercial environments as a designer, as an art director in ad agencies and design studios, and did about 8 years bouncing around all these different jobs, picking up all these different skills, working with all these different types of clients, industries, projects, mediums, all of this different stuff.
How much of the value of this business do you think is in the brand, in those kind of elements that you've created? Like, because I see you've explored many different ways of kind of monetizing this. There's courses, there's a community, there's little documents you can download, there's ideas you can buy. I think there's so many different things that you've done. Like, how strong do you think the brand is in creating that value for you?
It's the most intangible asset on the balance sheet, but it's, I would say, hard to even put a percentage on it, but it's a majority. The way I think about it is a brand has this intangible equity that's very hard to calculate, but every single additional image is building equity. And that I read this article recently. I have to dig it up and send you a link to it. The gist of the opening paragraph is your brand is this decentralized thing that essentially exists in other people's heads. Like your brand is this cumulative thing that you don't really have any consistent understanding of. It's this thing that you're building in other people's minds. They're all the words you could use to associate with that, but maybe trust is the most narrow definition of what that actually translates to, where you really start to feel the compound effect of brand 12 months, 18 months down the line. I think even the act of doing something recognizable for that amount of time it implies these things that you don't even really think about. But I think when people view the brand now, it doesn't look like it's going to go away, right? It feels like it has a foundation where you can expect to see something every couple of days, once a week, once a month. I think that's why brand is so complex, because it takes such a long time to like take hold. Even in my corporate brand exercises, I'd never been as close to the outcome as this. Or you build a brand and then you hand it over. And if you haven't done a good enough job of making the people you work with feel like they own it, then it just sort of dissipates, right?
Yes.
The branding is kind of the thing that happens after you deliver the brand. So the brand is black and white visuals and the distillation of ideas, but the branding is showing up and posting this stuff every day, or bringing new ideas to the people that follow it on a consistent basis. And I have so many branding projects in my portfolio that I'm very proud of, but they never continued on the trajectory that I would have liked to have seen them continue on, because I guess the momentum didn't exist in the business, or I didn't install the momentum in the business that I could or should have in order to achieve that effect over time. And it really does take a long time to win that like battle of attrition, of attention, and like fire off the sequence of neurons that fires off when someone sees your work. We both underestimate how long it takes to get there, but we also underestimate what it's worth when you kind of pass that threshold.
There's a YouTuber named Marcus Brownlee, NKBHD. He's been making videos for 14 years. So
Incredible.
people look at him now and they're like, okay, this guy's successful, and all the people are sending him products, and he's selling merch, and he can put his name on something and sell it out in 30 seconds. But you don't recognize that he's been making a video a week for 14 years, which
Incredible.
is, from a consistency perspective, epic. And like you said, he's just accreting brand equity over time.
Yeah, like MKBHD is an amazing example. He's an institution at this point.
Hmm.
Like that level of consistency and brand applied, like you say, people will pay an hour of their time to watch his video every time he posts it because he's like his reputation has earned that hour from them before they've even committed to it.
I see that you on LinkedIn and all the places where people copy your style, because it's quite an easy style to
Mm-hmm.
copy. It's not like you need to be the world's best illustrator to use simple shapes and black and white. And you always like and comment on this. Can you talk a little bit about why you engage with the people who are almost, not, I think stealing your brand is the wrong word, emulating you?
Yeah. So it wasn't always the case. Like I used to get frustrated by it in the beginning, where I would, you know, Instagram account pops up or like a straight rip off in a different style. So you basically take the construct of the visual and then just apply some other color scheme to it and
Mm.
typeface to it. And it's frustrating. But what I started to notice was people would comment on those posts and say, "This is a visualized value idea," or "You've taken this from this page. You should credit them." Really, the only way to maintain the edge long term is just to like dig your heels in and just try and be cleverer, make better work, and hope that that is obvious in the output of the product.
If you're consistent, you can almost out consistent anyone. I think the only time you really have to worry is when someone starts posting more often than you and just keeps going.
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's the only real risk, because I think so many of these people, like you say, they either find something of their own, which takes them off on a different journey, so you sort of part ways, or they expect to see the same level of success that you do in a short period of time, and when it doesn't happen, then the drive slowly dissipates, and then the accounts go dormant.
Yeah,
And I think this
that's
is,
true.
for me, the lesson here is for people who are building brands, or running them, is that consistency. If it might not feel right in the beginning, and you might not be seeing the results that you're seeing, but if you keep going and you keep plugging away and you keep iterating and you keep putting it out there, as opposed to, sort of, we see a lot with people who they try something and it doesn't work, and they immediately ditch it and go to something else, and they try
Hmm.
something else and then that doesn't work, and then they look back 4 years later and they've tried 15 things and they're not where they are, and they're feeling frustrated and they're feeling kind of trapped, or that they're not in the right place. And I think sometimes just keeping going and listening for those signals, like you said, you saw one or two of those signals and you're like, this is a signal coming
This could
back
work.
from the people of what they want, so let's lean into that and see where it takes us. Hello YouTube, I'm Ross Drakes. I'm the founder of Nice Work, and thank you so much for your time at watching this video. If you're seeing me, it means you made it all the way to the end, so we've at least done something right. If you enjoyed this, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I think more important than that is, if you know someone who might need to hear this, if you think someone out there who needs this message in their life, please spread the link, because it makes a huge difference to the world, and it allows us to fulfill our message of making sure that there are no more bad brands in the world. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next video.